Ibrahim Traoré. A name whispered on the winds of change sweeping across the African continent. A name synonymous with hope, with defiance, with a vision of a united and empowered Africa. But before the pronouncements and the Pan-African rallies, before the weight of a nation rested on his shoulders, he was a young man from Burkina Faso. Born in a landlocked nation grappling with poverty and instability, Traoré's early life was a world away from the grand stage of international politics. Yet even in the quiet moments, a fire burned within him, a fire ignited by the injustices he witnessed, the echoes of colonialism still reverberating through his homeland. This fire led him to a career in the military, a path not chosen for glory but for service. He rose through the ranks, his dedication and sharp intellect earning him the respect of his peers. He became Captain Ibrahim Traoré, a soldier not content with simply defending his nation's borders but yearning to protect its very soul. The weight of history, the struggles of his people, fueled his ambition. But it was the yearning for a brighter future, a future where Africa stood tall and united, that truly ignited his spirit. He understood that the destiny of Burkina Faso was inseparable from the destiny of the entire continent. This understanding, this unwavering belief in a Pan-African dream, would soon propel Captain Traoré onto a path he could never have imagined. Across the vast expanse of Africa, from the bustling cities to the rural heartlands, a yearning for change was taking root. The continent, rich in resources and culture, had long been shackled by the legacies of colonialism and ravaged by internal conflicts. The dreams of its people, their aspirations for a prosperous and equitable future, seemed to slip further away with each passing year. But beneath the surface of despair, seeds of resistance were being sown. A new generation, raised on the ideals of self-determination and Pan-Africanism, refused to be defined by the struggles of the past. They looked beyond the artificial borders drawn by colonizers and saw a shared heritage, a common destiny. They yearned for a leader who could articulate their frustrations, who could embody their hopes, who could dare to dream of a united and prosperous Africa. In Captain Traoré, they found their champion. His message was simple, yet powerful. Africa's strength lay in its unity. He spoke of a continent unshackled from neo-colonial influence, a continent where resources were shared equitably, where the potential of its people was fully unleashed. His words resonated with millions, igniting a spark of hope that had long been dormant, while noble in its aspirations, seemed to slip further out of reach. The Pan-African movement, a beacon of hope, emerged from the ashes of colonial oppression. It was a rallying cry, a call for unity among people of African descent worldwide. This movement transcended geographical boundaries, uniting Africans across continents in a shared struggle for liberation and self-determination. At its heart lay the belief that the destiny of all Africans was intertwined, that their collective strength could only be realized through solidarity and cooperation. This unity was not about erasing the rich tapestry of cultures and traditions that made Africa so unique. It was about recognizing their shared history, their common struggles, and their collective power to shape a brighter future. The Pan-African movement sought to reclaim the narrative of Africa, to redefine its place in the world, not as a victim of its past, but as an architect of its own destiny. The goals of Pan-Africanism were ambitious and far-reaching: to end colonialism and apartheid, to achieve political and economic independence for all African nations, and to foster unity and cooperation among them. It was a movement that sought to empower Africa and its people to create a continent where everyone had the opportunity to thrive, free from oppression and exploitation. It was a vision that resonated deeply with those who had long suffered under the yoke of colonial rule. From the intellectuals and activists who gathered in London in 1900, for the first Pan-African conference to the countless individuals who risked their lives fighting for independence across the continent, the movement was driven by an unwavering belief in the power of unity. These pioneers understood that a divided Africa would remain vulnerable to external forces seeking to exploit its resources and its people. They knew that only by standing together could Africans truly control their own destiny. The significance of the Pan-African movement lay not just in its aspirations, but also in its historical context. Africa, for centuries, had been subjected to the horrors of the transatlantic slave trade, a period of immense suffering that saw millions of its people forcibly removed from their homeland, stripped of their dignity and subjected to unimaginable brutality. The psychological and economic scars of this dark chapter in human history continue to run deep. The abolition of slavery, while a momentous victory, did not bring an end to Africa's woes. European powers, driven by greed and a sense of imperial ambition, carved up the continent amongst themselves, imposing their will on the indigenous populations. This period of colonization, lasting for decades, saw Africa's vast resources plundered, its people subjected to forced labor and discriminatory policies, and its traditional institutions undermined. The colonizers sought to reshape Africa in their own image, disregarding the continent's rich history, diverse cultures, and the aspirations of its people. The Pan-African movement emerged as a direct response to this legacy of exploitation and oppression. It was a rejection of the notion that Africa was inferior, that its destiny lay in the hands of foreign powers. It was a bold assertion of self-worth, a declaration that Africa and its people deserved the same rights and opportunities as any other nation or people on earth. It was a movement fueled by a deep-seated desire for self-determination, a yearning for an Africa free from external control, where its people could govern themselves, chart their own course, and build a future of their own choosing. The call for unity was not merely a political slogan, it was a matter of survival. The leaders of the Pan-African movement understood that a fragmented Africa, weakened by internal divisions and dependent on former colonial powers, would remain vulnerable to exploitation. They believed that only by uniting, by pooling their resources and leveraging their collective strength, could African nations break free from the shackles of neocolonialism and achieve true independence. The Pan-African movement recognized that true liberation extended beyond political independence. It demanded economic empowerment, an end to the exploitative trade practices that kept African nations trapped in a cycle of poverty and dependence. It called for an end to the extraction of Africa's vast mineral wealth by foreign corporations, often with little benefit to the local populations. The movement championed the idea of African nations controlling their own resources, adding value to their raw materials, and building diversified economies that benefited their own people. This vision of economic independence was seen as essential to breaking free from the legacy of colonialism, which had left many African nations reliant on the export of raw materials to their former colonial masters. Pan-Africanism also emphasized the importance of cultural revival. It recognized that colonialism had not only exploited Africa economically and politically, but had also sought to undermine its cultural identity. The imposition of European languages, education systems, and cultural values had led to a sense of alienation among some Africans, a feeling of being disconnected from their own heritage. The movement sought to reclaim and celebrate Africa's rich cultural heritage, its diverse languages, traditions, and artistic expressions. It recognized the importance of cultural identity in fostering unity and a sense of shared purpose. By promoting African literature, music, art, and traditional knowledge systems, the movement aimed to instill a sense of pride in being African, to counter the negative stereotypes that had been perpetuated during the colonial era. This cultural renaissance was seen as essential to fostering a sense of unity and solidarity among people of African descent worldwide. The dream of a unified Africa, a continent free from external control and united in its pursuit of progress, has been a long and arduous journey. The echoes of this ambition resonate throughout history, whispering of grand visions that have often been met with the harsh realities of a complex and fractured continent. From the ashes of colonialism, numerous attempts at unity emerged, each carrying the weight of centuries of exploitation and the hopes of a people yearning for self-determination. One such attempt was the formation of the Organization of African Unity in 1963. Born out of the spirit of Pan-Africanism and the desire to end colonialism, the OAU brought together newly independent African nations under a banner of solidarity. It was a moment of immense hope, a testament to the collective desire for a united front against the forces of imperialism and neo-colonialism. However, the OAU, while successful in its early years in liberating parts of Africa from colonial rule, struggled to overcome the deep-seated divisions that plagued the continent. The arbitrary borders drawn during the colonial era, often dividing ethnic groups and igniting territorial disputes, proved difficult to erase. The allure of power, coupled with economic disparities and ideological differences, led to internal conflicts and a reluctance to relinquish national sovereignty for the sake of a unified Africa. Despite its noble intentions, the OAU often found itself caught in the crosshairs of the Cold War, with external powers vying for influence and exacerbating existing tensions. The dream of a truly united and independent Africa, while kept alive in speeches and declarations, seemed to slip further away as the continent grappled with poverty, instability, and the lingering effects of its colonial past. Section 2. Glimmering visions of unity, successes amidst the struggle. Even as the dream of a fully unified Africa faced setbacks, glimmers of hope emerged, demonstrating the potential of collaboration and shared progress. Regional economic blocs, such as the Economic Community of West African States and the Southern African Development Community, showcase the benefits of cooperation on a smaller scale. These regional organizations, focused on promoting trade, economic integration, and regional stability, have achieved notable successes. From peacekeeping missions in conflict-ridden countries to the implementation of free trade zones that boost economic growth, these blocs demonstrate the tangible benefits of working together to address shared challenges. The African Union, established in 2002 to succeed the OAU, represents a renewed commitment to unity and continental integration. With a broader mandate than its predecessor, the AU focuses on areas such as peace and security, good governance, economic development, and social progress. The establishment of institutions like the Pan-African Parliament and the African Court of Justice reflects a growing desire for stronger continental governance structures. Furthermore, the AU has played a more proactive role in addressing conflicts and promoting democracy across the continent. From mediating peace agreements to suspending the membership of countries that experience unconstitutional changes of government, the AU has demonstrated a growing willingness to act as a guardian of peace and stability. Section 3. The Ghosts of Division, addressing the challenges to a unified Africa. While the pursuit of African unity has seen progress, significant challenges remain. The legacy of colonialism continues to cast a long shadow, with economic inequalities, neo-colonial practices, and the lingering effects of artificial borders hindering progress. Despite efforts to promote democracy and good governance, corruption, human rights abuses, and political instability continue to plague many parts of the continent. Ethnic tensions and religious conflicts, often fueled by political opportunism and competition for scarce resources, remain a significant threat to peace and stability. The rise of extremist groups in some regions further complicates the security landscape, requiring coordinated efforts to combat terrorism and address its root causes. The lack of infrastructure, particularly in transportation and energy, hinders economic growth and integration. Inadequate access to education and healthcare perpetuates cycles of poverty and limits human potential. Overcoming these challenges requires significant investment, both domestic and international, as well as a commitment to good governance, transparency, and equitable distribution of resources. The pursuit of a unified Africa also necessitates addressing the often overlooked role of women and young people. Empowering women through education, economic opportunities, and political participation is crucial for sustainable development and inclusive governance. Similarly, harnessing the energy and creativity of Africa's youthful population, providing them with quality education, skills development, and opportunities for meaningful employment is essential for unlocking the continent's vast potential. Section 1. The Architect of a New Dawn. Ibrahim Traoré, a man forged in the crucible of a nation yearning for change, has emerged as a powerful voice for a new era of African unity. His vision, deeply rooted in the principles of Pan-Africanism and fueled by a profound belief in the potential of a united continent, has resonated far beyond the borders of Burkina Faso, inspiring hope and galvanizing a new generation of leaders. Unlike those who came before him, Traoré's approach to Pan-Africanism is not confined to lofty pronouncements and symbolic gestures. He speaks of unity not as a distant aspiration, but as a practical necessity, a pragmatic response to the challenges facing the continent in the 21st century. His message is clear: Africa must unite or perish. Traoré's vision for a United States of Africa is not a carbon copy of existing federal models. He recognizes the continent's unique history, its diverse cultures, and the need for a model that reflects African realities. He envisions a gradual process of integration, starting with strengthening regional economic blocs and fostering closer cooperation in areas like infrastructure, energy, and security. His leadership style, characterized by a blend of charisma, pragmatism, and unwavering commitment, has earned him the respect of both his peers and the wider African populace. He speaks frankly about the challenges facing the continent, acknowledging past failures while emphasizing the need for bold action and innovative thinking. His calls for self-reliance, economic empowerment, and a break from neo-colonial patterns of dependence resonate deeply with those who have long yearned for a truly independent and prosperous Africa. At the heart of Traoré's vision for a United States of Africa lie several key pillars, each addressing a critical aspect of continental integration and development. He recognizes that true unity cannot be achieved solely through political declarations. It requires a holistic approach that encompasses economic, social, and cultural dimensions. Economic integration is paramount to Traoré's vision. He argues that Africa's vast natural resources, if managed collectively and sustainably, can be a powerful engine for growth and development. He advocates for the creation of a continental free trade zone, the harmonization of economic policies, and investment in key infrastructure projects that connect African markets and facilitate intracontinental trade. Beyond economic integration, Traoré emphasizes the importance of investing in human capital. He believes that education, healthcare, and access to technology are fundamental rights and essential for unlocking the potential of Africa's young and growing population. He calls for increased investment in education systems that equip young people with the skills and knowledge needed for the 21st century workforce, as well as accessible and affordable healthcare systems that ensure the well-being of all citizens. Traoré recognizes that a unified Africa must be a secure Africa. He advocates for a continental security architecture that can effectively address transnational threats such as terrorism, cross-border crime, and climate change. He believes that a coordinated approach involving intelligence sharing, joint military exercises, and conflict resolution mechanisms is essential for ensuring peace and stability across the continent. The potential impact of a United States of Africa, as envisioned by Traoré, is immense. It represents a paradigm shift, a fundamental reordering of the global power structure that could have far-reaching implications for Africa and the world. Economically, a unified Africa would be an economic powerhouse. With a combined GDP of trillions of dollars and a market of over 1 billion consumers, it would have significant leverage in global trade negotiations and attract foreign investment. This economic strength would translate into greater prosperity for its citizens with improved living standards, increased access to essential services, and reduced poverty. Politically, a United States of Africa would command a more prominent voice on the world stage. With a unified foreign policy and a permanent seat on the United Nations Security Council, it would be a force to be reckoned with in international affairs, able to advocate for its interests and shape global agendas. This increased political clout would allow Africa to play a more active role in addressing global challenges such as climate change, terrorism, and pandemics. Culturally, a united Africa would celebrate its rich diversity while fostering a shared sense of identity and purpose. The exchange of ideas, traditions, and artistic expressions would enrich the continent and provide a platform for African voices to be heard on a global scale. This cultural renaissance would challenge negative stereotypes and showcase the vibrancy and dynamism of African cultures to the world. The road to achieving Traoré's vision will be long and arduous, fraught with challenges and setbacks. Yet, the potential rewards are immense. The emergence of leaders like Traoré, with their unwavering belief in Pan-Africanism and their commitment to concrete action, offers a glimmer of hope, a sign that the dream of a united and prosperous Africa may yet be within reach. The vision of a United States of Africa, once a distant dream whispered in the corridors of Pan-African conferences, is slowly but surely taking shape on the ground. Across the continent, a tapestry of integration efforts, both large and small, are weaving together the destinies of nations and their people. From the bustling ports of East Africa to the bustling cities of West Africa, the spirit of unity is finding expression in tangible ways. The African Union, the successor to the Organization of African Unity, stands as a testament to this growing commitment to integration. While not without its challenges, the AU has played a crucial role in fostering dialogue, promoting peace and security, and coordinating development efforts across the continent. Its various organs, from the Peace and Security Council to the Pan-African Parliament, are gradually building a framework for continental governance. Regional economic blocs such as ECOWAS in West Africa, SADC in Southern Africa, and the East African Community are proving to be crucibles of integration. These blocs have made significant strides in promoting free trade, facilitating the movement of people and goods across borders, and harmonizing economic policies. Their successes offer a glimpse of the potential benefits of a more integrated Africa. Beyond formal institutions, people-to-people connections are flourishing. Cultural exchanges, sporting events, and academic collaborations are breaking down barriers, fostering understanding and building bridges across the continent. The rise of social media and digital technologies has further accelerated these connections, creating a virtual space for Africans to connect, share ideas, and build solidarity. Section 2. The African Continental Free Trade Area, a giant awakens. Perhaps the most significant development in recent years has been the launch of the African Continental Free Trade Area, or AFCFTA. This ambitious agreement, signed by 54 African countries, aims to create the world's largest free trade area by number of participating countries, covering a market of 1.3 billion people and a combined GDP of over $3.4 trillion. The AFCFTA has the potential to transform the African economy. By eliminating tariffs and other trade barriers, it is expected to boost intra-African trade significantly. This increased trade will create new markets for African businesses, stimulate investment, and create jobs, particularly for young people and women. The agreement goes beyond simply reducing trade barriers. It also includes provisions on the free movement of people, investment, competition policy, and intellectual property rights. These measures are designed to create a more conducive environment for businesses to thrive, attract foreign investment, and promote economic diversification. The implementation of the AFCFTA is still in its early stages, and significant challenges remain. These include addressing non-tariff barriers to trade, improving infrastructure, harmonizing customs procedures, and building capacity among African businesses to take advantage of the new opportunities. Despite these challenges, the AFCFTA represents a major step towards Ibrahim Traoré's vision of a united and prosperous Africa. It is a powerful symbol of what can be achieved when African nations work together to pursue a common goal. Section 3, Beyond Economics, the Soft Power of Unity. While economic integration is crucial, the pursuit of a United States of Africa extends beyond trade agreements and infrastructure projects. It encompasses the realm of ideas, culture, and shared values. It is about fostering a sense of belonging to a larger African identity, a shared destiny that transcends national borders. In recent years, there has been a resurgence of interest in Pan-Africanism, particularly among young people. This has manifested itself in various ways, from the embrace of African fashion and music to the growing popularity of Pan-African events and festivals. Social media platforms have become vibrant spaces for young Africans to connect, share ideas, and celebrate their shared heritage. This cultural renaissance is not about erasing the diversity of African cultures, but rather about celebrating their shared roots and commonalities. It is about recognizing that despite their differences in language, ethnicity, or religion, Africans share a common history, a common struggle against colonialism, and a common aspiration for a better future. This shared cultural identity can be a powerful force for unity. It can help to break down prejudices, foster tolerance, and build bridges of understanding. It can also inspire a sense of collective pride and ownership over the Pan-African project, making it more likely to succeed. The challenge lies in harnessing this cultural energy and channeling it towards concrete actions that promote unity and integration. This requires investment in education systems that teach African history and culture, support for cultural industries and creative expressions, and the promotion of intercultural dialogue and exchange. Section 1, The Ghosts of Borders Navigating Sovereignty and Unity. The pursuit of a United States of Africa, while a noble and necessary endeavor, is not without its challenges. The continent bears the scars of its history, the artificial divisions imposed by colonialism, and the lingering ghosts of borders that continue to haunt the present. The question of sovereignty, of relinquishing national power for the sake of a larger union, remains a sensitive and complex issue. For many African nations, their hard-won independence, achieved after decades of struggle against colonial rule, is a source of immense pride and a cornerstone of their national identity. The prospect of surrendering this sovereignty, even partially, to a supranational entity, evokes understandable anxieties. Concerns about the erosion of national identity, the loss of autonomy in decision-making, and the potential for domination by larger or more powerful states within a unified Africa are legitimate and require careful consideration. Moreover, the diversity of Africa, its tapestry of cultures, languages, and political systems, adds another layer of complexity. Finding a model of unity that respects this diversity, that accommodates the unique characteristics and aspirations of each nation, is crucial for ensuring the legitimacy and sustainability of any Pan-African project. Navigating this delicate balance between sovereignty and unity requires a nuanced approach. It demands open and honest dialogue among African leaders and citizens, addressing concerns head-on and building trust through transparency and inclusivity. It necessitates finding creative solutions that allow for the pooling of resources and the sharing of power without compromising the core principles of self-determination and national identity. Section 2. The Spectre of Conflict, Securing a Peaceful and Stable Africa. The spectre of conflict, a recurring theme in Africa's post-colonial history, casts a long shadow over the pursuit of unity. From civil wars fueled by ethnic tensions and political power struggles to the rise of extremist groups exploiting grievances and instability, the continent continues to grapple with challenges to its peace and security. These conflicts, often rooted in historical injustices, competition for scarce resources, or the manipulation of ethnic and religious identities by opportunistic leaders, not only cause immense human suffering, but also undermine efforts at regional cooperation and integration. They divert resources away from crucial development projects, create an environment of fear and mistrust, and hinder the free flow of people, its goods and ideas. Addressing these conflicts requires a multi-pronged approach. It demands a commitment to conflict prevention, addressing the root causes of instability through poverty reduction, equitable distribution of resources, and inclusive governance that ensures the participation of all segments of society. It necessitates strengthening regional mechanisms for conflict resolution, mediation, and peacekeeping, enabling African nations to take the lead in resolving their own disputes. Furthermore, tackling the scourge of terrorism and extremism requires a coordinated continental response. This includes intelligence sharing, joint military operations, and addressing the factors that drive recruitment into these groups, such as poverty, lack of opportunity, and marginalization. Ultimately, securing a peaceful and stable Africa is not only a moral imperative, but also a prerequisite for achieving lasting unity and prosperity. Without peace, the foundations of integration crumble, and the dream of a United States of Africa remains elusive. Despite the challenges, the pursuit of a United States of Africa remains a compelling and necessary endeavor. The potential benefits of unity, economic prosperity, political influence, and a reassertion of Africa's place in the world are too significant to ignore. However, achieving this vision requires more than just technical solutions or institutional frameworks. It demands a fundamental shift in mindset, a rejection of the narratives of division and despair that have too often defined the continent's past. It requires embracing a new narrative for a new Africa, one rooted in unity, self-reliance, and a belief in the continent's immense potential. This narrative must be championed by visionary leaders like Ibrahim Traoré, individuals who inspire hope, galvanize action, and embody the values of Pan-Africanism. These leaders must possess a deep understanding of the continent's history, its challenges, and its aspirations. They must be able to articulate a compelling vision for the future, one that resonates with people from all walks of life and unites them around a common purpose. They must be committed to good governance, transparency, and accountability, ensuring that the benefits of unity reach all segments of society. Moreover, these leaders must be willing to challenge the status quo, to confront the vested interests that benefit from division and exploitation. They must be unafraid to stand up for Africa's interests on the global stage, demanding a more just and equitable world order. The journey towards a United States of Africa will be long and arduous, marked by both progress and setback. However, with the right leadership, the unwavering commitment of its people, and a steadfast belief in its shared destiny, Africa can overcome the challenges it faces and realize its full potential as a united, prosperous, and influential force on the world stage. Across the vast expanse of Africa, from the sun-kissed savannas to the bustling metropolises, a profound transformation is underway. A continent long defined by its struggles, its divisions, and its exploitation is stirring, awakening to the possibilities of a brighter future. The dream of a United States of Africa, once a distant aspiration confined to the pages of history books and the impassioned speeches of Pan-African visionaries, is taking root in the hearts and minds of a new generation. The journey towards unity will not be easy. The challenges are real, the obstacles formidable, the ghosts of colonialism still linger, the scars of conflict yet to heal. Poverty, inequality, and corruption continue to cast a shadow over many parts of the continent. The allure of power, the siren song of division, will tempt those who seek to profit from disunity. Yet amidst these challenges, a spirit of optimism prevails, a belief that a different path is possible, a future where Africa's destiny is shaped not by external forces, but by the collective will of its people. The threads of progress, though sometimes fragile, are weaving together a tapestry of hope, connecting nations and communities, bridging divides, and fostering a sense of shared purpose. This emerging Africa is not a utopia, nor is it a rejection of its past. It is a continent that acknowledges its history, learns from its mistakes, and embraces the richness of its diversity. It is an Africa that recognizes its challenges, confronts them head-on, and seeks solutions through innovation, collaboration, and a steadfast belief in the power of its people. At the heart of this African Renaissance lies a profound philosophy, a concept deeply rooted in the continent's cultural heritage, Ubuntu. Often translated as humanity towards others, Ubuntu speaks to the interconnectedness of all people, the belief that our individual well-being is inextricably linked to the well-being of our communities and our shared humanity. Ubuntu is more than just a word, it is a way of life, a guiding principle that emphasizes empathy, compassion, and the importance of community. It is a rejection of individualism and a celebration of our shared humanity, recognizing that we are all bound together by a common thread, our destinies intertwined. In the context of a United States of Africa, Ubuntu takes on a profound significance. It provides a moral compass for the pursuit of unity, a reminder that the goal is not simply to create a larger political or economic entity, but to build a society founded on principles of justice, equality, and shared prosperity. Ubuntu challenges us to see beyond the artificial borders that divide us, to recognize the common humanity that unites us. It compels us to extend a hand of friendship to our neighbors, to embrace our differences as strengths, and to work together to build a future where every African, regardless of their background or circumstance, has the opportunity to thrive. The echoes of Ubuntu resonate throughout the continent, inspiring acts of kindness, fostering dialogue, and fueling the belief that a better Africa is possible. An Africa where unity is not just a political goal but a lived reality. Ibrahim Traoré, the young captain who dared to dream of a united and empowered Africa, may one day be remembered not just as a leader of Burkina Faso but as a catalyst for a continental awakening. His legacy will not be measured solely by the policies he implements or the speeches he delivers, but by the vision he has ignited, the hope he has inspired, and the countless individuals he has empowered to take up the mantle of Pan-Africanism. Traoré's greatest contribution may lie not in providing all the answers, but in asking the right questions, in challenging the status quo, and in reminding us that a different path is possible. He has shown that leadership is not about wielding power, but about empowering others, about fostering a sense of collective responsibility for shaping the destiny of a continent. The future of Africa, like the pages of an unwritten book, remains a canvas upon which the dreams, aspirations, and actions of its people will be etched. The road ahead will be long, the journey arduous. There will be moments of doubt, setbacks, and challenges that test the resolve of even the most ardent believers in a United States of Africa. Yet, the seeds of unity have been sown, the spirit of Pan-Africanism rekindled. A new generation of Africans, inspired by Traoré's vision and emboldened by the possibilities of a shared future, is rising to the challenge. They are the entrepreneurs, the artists, the activists, the teachers, the doctors, the engineers, the dreamers who are building a better Africa brick by brick, heart by heart. The dream of a United States of Africa may not be realized in their lifetime, but their efforts will lay the foundation for a future where the artificial divisions of the past fade into distant memory, replaced by a continent united in its diversity, its strength, and its unwavering belief in a shared destiny. The journey has just begun, but the destination, though still distant, shimmers on the horizon, a beacon of hope guiding Africa towards a brighter tomorrow.